Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Friday night edition. Woo, this is almost like Friday night videos. Y'all remember Friday night videos? Friday night edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the place where we set oppression ablaze. And you know we is actually real colored folk because we come late to set oppression ablaze. It's like, I mean, you could come early, you could come on time, but would it really be black? Would it be Negro if we were to do things in a punctual fashion? And it's not even so much about punctuality. I don't respect time as a colonial construct. So there's that. So late, early, what's the difference? Ain't no difference. So anyway, we made it. That's the most important thing is we here, we showed up, we alive, and we glad to be joined with you wonderful folks here this evening. So thank you all so much for waiting ever so patiently. Come on in here. What's up? Who we got in here? Who do I see in here? I see Swery Ferries. I see Latif. I think I see Wendy. I see Holly, the Gemmo. Who else do I got up in here? Y'all come on in here because I think I got a good show in store for everybody on this evening. So I don't even know where to begin, guys. I don't know where to begin because to be honest, there was something that came across. You know what? I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna hold it. I should have slapped it on the dock, but I didn't because I'm trifling. But that's okay. No worries. We're going to stick to the plan as advertised. And as a former media worker, I guess this is work, but this is more fun because I actually get to talk shit. I don't have to wear a mask. Yeah. And feign some sort of absurd objectivity. No, this is not work, guys. This is fun. This is my passion. But when I was a media worker, oh boy, there are certain unspoken but yet understood social truths that apparently media workers in the West, people who work, I would say on television, radio, I don't even know what media consists of beyond the media sphere in which I inhabit here on YouTube and Twitch. But let's say the legacy media space, the traditional media space. Well, you know, they're having some problems. And I wanted to take a moment here to sort of address at least what I perceive to be one of the main stories percolating in this week's news cycle. And it has everything to do with did the United States, under directive of Donald Trump, obliterate the Iranian nuclear facilities, right? As you know, a mere week ago, which sounds crazy right now to say that shit happened 6 fucking days ago, a week ago, June 20th on the summer solstice, that bastard, or June 21st, regardless. US planes flew over Iran and dropped bombs on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities in efforts to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities or the possibility of them developing a nuclear bomb, which was the bullshit story told to everybody to get instant consent. No need to manufacture consent this time around, everybody. No need to send Cole, Colin Powell up to the United Nations with some bullshit PowerPoint talking about Saddam got mass weapons and mass destruction. Nope. No need for that shit when things move at the speed of a tweet or a post on True Social. So the United States told this bullshit lie that Iran was on the verge of developing a nuclear weapon. Trump lied again, said he was going to wait 2 weeks, then waited a whole day before signing off on these strikes on nuclear facilities, which, you know, seems to be hazardous to humanity to drop a 30,000-pound bomb on where you think nuclear shit is living. But okay, here we go with the merit of white male leadership. These motherfuckers can't fucking add 2 and 3 and come up with 6. It's 5, but you understand what I'm saying. So hold on. So let me get my shit together. So wait. So in the media, where was I talking about the media? So the media, I don't care if Trump obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. I hope he didn't. I hope Iran gets the nuclear bomb tomorrow. I hope Russia put that shit on a fucking UPS airplane. I hope Russia and China got the fucking nuclear yappas on their way to Tehran tonight. That's my hope. That's my hope. But what I want to focus on this narrative, this stream of this narrative. But the angle that I want to take here is, why is it just accepted in Western media that it was okay for the United States to do this? And the debate and the critique being leveled at the Trump administration isn't, should you have done this? They're asking, the Western press is, did you do a good enough job of dropping these bombs on these nuclear facilities? How can we be assured that you did a good enough job on dropping bombs on a sovereign nation that did not attack anybody, least of all the United States, right? And this sheepishness on behalf of the American media, especially, to just accept that it is, number one, legal, justified, moral, ethical for the United States to just be arbitrarily attacking nations, right? And I guess because that is how the United States has always operated, I guess that's why our press, our so-called fourth estate, or is it the fifth estate? I can't remember. our so-called watchdog of government just accepts the line of American imperialism, like, oh, of course, naturally, if a country does anything in their own sovereign interest that the United States perceives as an affront, be it to our direct interest or no, if we just don't like it, oh, we get to go bomb that country. And I guess that country just got to take it. And I'm trying to figure out, y'all, in what goddamn logical, rational world does that work? Imagine there were some other niggas in my neighborhood that I didn't like. Okay. And imagine they lived around the corner, right? I can't even see them from my fucking house. Imagine if I found out that they got yappas, and I don't like the fact that they got yappas around the corner. So I'm going to go kicking their door, waving the 4-4 and attempt to enact some sort of harm or destruction upon them because they're doing something in their house that I don't like. Get the fuck out of here. This is what Burn It Down with Kim Brown is about. Secondarily, after setting oppression ablaze, you guys need to come here to know that you're not fucking crazy. Okay, you are not crazy. I'm not crazy. Well, I'm not overtly crazy. I'm not documented crazy. Let's put it that way. I think that's the better way to put it. I'm not crazy on paper. But they can't prove it, and I'm great. But my point is this: you're not fucking crazy. And I want us to play a couple clips here, because when I saw these clips, and I'm like, is this the level of media scrutiny and critique that we are left with in the year 20 and 25? And not that I'm surprised about it, not that I'm shocked about it. It just seems very 20th century, a very immature, naive, very myopic way of viewing the world. And it's not even really America first, because America did this shit at the behest of Israel. So really it was Israel first, and America bringing up the rear with all the cavalry and military accoutrements to back up Israel shit. Okay. So anyway, I don't even know where the fuck Marco Rubio was. I don't even care where he was. And it don't even matter to me what network this is, because I don't watch cable news right now, and I don't know the personalities, the shows. I don't know anything about who is who on cable news. But I know that this is a tone, and this is a sentiment, and this is a line of questioning that is often regurgitated and repeated across cable news networks, across legacy mainstream political talk shows, right? So what we're about to see here in an exchange with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, I just want you to hear the way that, even though the reporter is pushing back some against Rubio, when he goes into the rhetoric about, well, Iran was about to have a nuclear weapon, we can't have a nuclear armed Iran, and the reporter's just like, yeah, of course. No, of course we can't have that. What? Oh, anyway, we'll pick it apart. Let's take a listen to it.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked in the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
but that is
everything
the
they
key
need to build
point
a
in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessments. You know
no,
that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had
well,
not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons. Because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's a question.
That's
That's a question of intent, and you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold state and use this leverage. I'm talking about the public March assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from March.
But that's also an inaccurate representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Now, forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60%? Right. If you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon. Right. Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored. Yes. That's all we need to see.
Right. Well,
especially in the hands of the regime. That's our.
You get the gist. Marco Rubio running down the missile inventory of Iran. Why do you need 6,000 short-range missiles? Why do they need a space program? Nigga, why don't you mind your business? Why don't you stop worried about what Iran needs and be worried about what America needs? But the point being this, Iran needs all of these armaments. Iran needs to develop a nuclear weapon toot sweet for this reason right here, because there are nations out there, I don't know if Rubio knows this or not, that are preemptively, unilaterally, and illegally bombing other nations for no reasons. The United States leading that charge. Well, actually, Israel is leading that charge. The United States, well, I guess Israel's leading it for the 21st century. Well, maybe not. It's hard to keep count of all the countries that the United States and Israel have either bombed, couped, facilitated some sort of regime change in just the first 25 years of this century. I mean, guys, these two imperial nations are trying to set records here. Like, how many countries can we bomb in 25 years? Holy shit. But it's incredible. Just like the level of American centeredness. And to be clear, this is not new. And I understand that American politicians have spoken this way for a very long time, but it seems as though now it is really hitting different because number one, the billions of dollars spent on foreign entanglements, on the United States bombing Iran, for example, justify that in the face of all of the Medicare, Medicaid cuts that the Republicans and Trump have proposed in the so-called big, beautiful bill, right? How is it that we don't have money to keep the Social Security Administration buildings open in rural communities, that we don't have money to keep hospitals open across the country? We don't have money to fund schools. We don't have money. We don't have money. We don't have money. We find money to go bomb Iran. And when the media has an opportunity to press our leaders, our so-called leaders about this, they are also not only perpetuating the lie, but going along with the lie that the United States has some sort of divine right to be the police of the world. You guys, this response from Marco Rubio tells me a couple of things. Number one, that we live in a no rules world, okay? Countries like Iran, who sit within their own borders, and listen, we can argue, people can say, well, Iran funds their own proxies, they fund Hamas, they fund the Houthis, they fund Hezbollah. They do. the Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, those Iran's little niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like they Iran's YNs. Yeah, look out for them. Let them eat. Give them some training, because clearly all of the countries in which those three groups occupy are also in danger from the Israeli regime also. So yeah, I understand why Iran is doing what it's doing. It makes sense to me. But they should be arming themselves because there is a maniacal, genocidal, psychopathic, teeny tiny country by the name of Israel that seems to be wreaking havoc on the entire nation, rather on the entire region in the Gulf, right? And Rubio claims that Iran is the bully. I have only seen Iran respond in self-defense. I have not seen Iran take preemptive strikes. I'm not seeing Iran genocide anybody. Can anybody in the chat, can y'all tell me, is Iran in the midst or in the throes of a very active genocide right now? Like, the audacity for Rubio and the Trump administration to claim Iran is the dangerous ones when they do not currently have nuclear arms and they are not genociding any entire population in the way that Israel is. To my awareness, none of Iran's leading leaders have international arrest warrants issued for them to respond to war crimes and accusations of genocide. Like, don't let these people on the TV fool you or your people about who is the real aggressor here and who is the enemy. And to be clear, if you root for the United States to end Iran's nuclear program, every single dollar that goes towards a bomb, a missile, a bullet to either do a regime change in Iran or to destabilize them in any way, that is a dollar, billions, in fact, taken away from you, taken away from your community, taken away from your ability to be in this raggedy shithole of a country and survive. How's everybody doing out there with the survival part in America right now? I see what my Patreon is looking like. I know it's looking a little shaky out there. Okay. And so for all the patriots and for all the American Ziobots that want to say that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, go fuck yourself. Israel shouldn't have a nuclear weapon. Actually, in fact, nobody should have a nuclear weapon. Let's do it like that. Nuclear weapons are the tools to end humanity. Why should any country or one person or persons have the ability to control the lives of 8 billion people? I disagree with the possession of nuclear weapons altogether, but they serve as a functional deterrent against dickheads like the United States and others. So if we look at the nuclear armed country, who got the nukes, everybody? US, UK, France. Who else got some nukes? Pakistan. Who else got the nukes? India, Israel, Turkey got nukes. Russia got nukes. China got nukes. North Korea got nukes. Who is dropping bombs on any of those countries, right? Well, Iran did let the chopper sing over Tel Aviv, but they started it. So there's that. But the point is this, and Israel knew better. You better not fire off that nuke because there was going to be another one coming from somewhere. I don't know even where. I'm guessing it was Pakistan who would fire off the nuke in response to Israel's nuke to Iran. This is so disgusting and ugly. I hate this. I hate this timeline for all of us. Let me just say that. But the media, gang, the media. Certain folks are allowed to ask these questions of these administration representatives because nobody is going to ask the question, well, isn't it illegal for the United States to unilaterally and unprovoked attack the nuclear facilities of another sovereign nation? No one's going to ask that question because everyone knows the answer. The answer is it's not illegal. Do you know why? Because it's only illegal if you care about the law. If you care about the law. Our sitting president is actually the epitome of that. Trump does not give a fuck about the law. He don't give a fuck about if the law apply to him. He don't care about how the law applies to his administration, to his executive orders, to his directives to deploy the Marines and Trump don't give a fuck about the law, and neither does America. And now, and not to say that previous American presidents did give a fuck about the law, but at least they kind of gave some concern about appearances, about decorum, about leadership, about, you know, whatever the fuck America thinks that it's doing in terms of being some sort of moral compass of other nations around the world. Bullshit always. But Trump, it's like now there's a synergy in place, right? You have a country as America, the empire, who never gave a fuck about the law, now mixed with an overt fuck the law person, y'all. And then they're going to try to tell us that we need to get we need to be supportive of regime change or trying to stop Iran from becoming nuclear. Sounds absurd. But I want you guys to hear again, and I say Western media because I focus on the US media, and I told you I follow some of these other state television news networks around the world. And for some reason Australia keeps popping up. I don't know what's going on in Australia. A lot of colonialism, I'm sure. But this clip showed up, and I want y'all to hear it because the guest is Mr. Saeed. And now I'm sorry, I don't know what Mr. Saeed's title is off the top of my head, but I appreciated his response to the Australian journalist, because the Australian journalist is going to veer off into this other timeline in which only the United States and only the West has the right to bomb black and brown countries for literally not committing any sort of criminal acts, no overt acts of war. And the brown bruv in this clip is going to push back against this, like, my nigga, you know who threw the first punch, right? It was y'all. So how the fuck? But anyway, just to give y'all an example, another one of the level of dystopian discourse that I hear from the Western media, and I'm tired of it. I've been hearing this level of, you know, absurdism when it comes to what the United States has the right to do and what other countries don't have the right to do within the bounds of their own borders when it comes to using their own shit. It's wild. I'm so tired of it. But anyway, let's go ahead and run that second clip.
It's no longer in that treaty. Would there be an incentive, in your view, for Iran to accelerate efforts towards a nuclear weapon?
It depends to the U.S. If the U.S. is going to accelerate hostilities, wars, assassination, terror, cyber attacks, why they should not?
That sounds like a threat.
It is American threat. It is Israeli threat. Why you are saying vice versa? Iran has been attacked. Iran did not attack. Israel attacked Iran. The U.S. attacked Iran. But now we are discussing about Iranian threat? I mean, this is really a joke, David. Where are you? What are you doing? Iran has been attacked by 2 nuclear weapon states. And now we are talking about 300 or 200 kilogram. Iran, you are talking about Iranian threat. The threat is there. Who attacked Iran? Iran did not attack Israel. Israel attacked Iran. You have Iranian parliament legislation. They have officially, publicly passed a resolution, a legislation that if Iran is not going to enjoy its right under NPT, there is no reason for Iran to remain committed to NPT. I mean, everything, it depends to the U.S. If the U.S. wants Iran to stay a member of NPT, should respect the rights of Iran under NPT, not to attack, not to threaten, not to violate the deals.
So how is Iran, who by all observations has been complying with the non-proliferation treaty, the NPT, what the brother Saeed said there, and what's the shit Trump pulled the United States out of? The JCPOA, the Joint Cocksucker Plan of Action. I don't know what the acronym was, but the treaty where they said, all right, y'all not gonna do this, and then we gonna watch y'all not do this. And Iran was like, fuck it, cool, whatever. They signed the treaty, and Trump pulled the United States out of the treaty. It was Obama who set up the treaty, or who had the United States be a signatory to the treaty, but Trump pulled the US out of the treaty. and then had the audacity to say that Iran wasn't upholding its end of the fucking treaty. Nigga, make it make sense. What? And this is what drives me crazy about watching US media and Western media. It's like, can't y'all hear the mental gymnastics that everyone is doing to try to make any of this logical, justifiable, and reasonable? There is no reason why the United States needs to fly planes to deter Iran from creating a nuclear program of its fucking choosing, whether it's for domestic energy production, whether it's not to develop a whole ass bomb or a whole fleet of bombs to keep the suckers up off of them. They are allowed to do that. And it is ginormous, white, male, patriarchal, racist, colonial hubris to even sit up there and to proffer up that another country 7,000 miles away does not have the right to do what they want to do. Does anyone come and tell America what to do? And why is that? You know why? Because we have the yappas. Okay? All the countries that have yappas do not have niggas bombing their nuclear facilities in the middle of the fucking night. And I hate the fact that Iran gaining some sort of nuclear abilities is going to be what Trump uses to hang his hat, or one amongst many things, I suppose, to hang his hat on his fucking trash ass presidency. And this is what I don't even know if we have any trolls in here tonight, but in case we do, in case we got some MAGAs in the building, you little bitches. All right, let me tell y'all about yourself real quick. Y'all cannot be America first while Trump is flying planes in the Middle East. You can't be America first while Trump is calling from his True Social platform or from his Twitter page regime change in Iran. Do you know how that's not America first? Because that would actually be pouring billions and billions of dollars more into the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, and into the war machine. And do you know where that Pentagon money goes? You know where that war machine money goes? Well, yeah, it probably does go in a hole somewhere. it does do that. But let me tell you where it doesn't go. It doesn't go to keep your local hospital open. It doesn't go to bring down prescription drug prices. Like, it doesn't go to funding universal health care, which, by the way, they, and I mean Republicans, Democrats, the whole oligopoly, all of them together at the same time in unison, they keep telling us that we can't have shit like that we can't have universal health care, that we can't have fully funded public schools, that we can't have better public safety than just funding the police to the fucking hilt, than spending all the money on the goddamn cops and on the jails. The reason why America can't have nice shit is because all of our money goes to the Pentagon. But these MAGA idiots, y'all gave Doge to Elon to go make cuts. And what cuts is Elon going to make? He's going to cut your sister's food stamps, because you know your sister's baby father do not take care of them kids. And whites, I'm talking to y'all. Don't even try to play me with some fucking broken black family trope. I know many buku broken white families, okay? there are so many deadbeat fathers who are out here being white, okay? Like, so miss me, okay? You know, your folks and them utilize these government facilities and these government programs that now they are not going to be able to have because Trump told you a lie. He told you America first. And he said, psych, Lockheed Martin first. Psych, Raytheon first. Psych, I'm going to go over to Europe for this NATO meeting and make sure that all my buddies in the defense spending industry, the defense, I hate to even, again, all these misnomers. It's not defense, it's defense spending. It is merchant of death. It is war profiteering. It is manufacturing the tools of war, right? The machinery of war. I don't even want to call it defense contractors, but yo, those are all Trump's buddies. And Trump went over to the NATO summit. Speaking of media, actually, I'm gonna be brief here because Trump was over at the NATO summit. I wasn't sure how the NATO summit was gonna go, but it appeared to be, how how should we say this? A circle jerk of sorts, because everybody was on Trump dick, and I don't get it. I don't understand. I guess because he bombed Iran, something that has historically not been done, and all the other white men were deeply impressed, I suppose. I hate it here. But one interesting moment that came out of the NATO summit, just to give you guys an idea of the fawning that was happening. So the chief general of NATO, his name is Mark Ruthe, Ruthe, or Ruth, whatever. Some saltine. I don't know who he is. But anyway, he's head shit at NATO. And during the press conference of the opening leaders, again, I mean, I'm like, how did y'all have a circle jerk in front of the press just like that? What kind of shit is this? What is this European shit? Where was this? Amsterdam? All this freaky shit. All this man on man stuff. So the NATO chief general, when he was referring to Donald Trump's cussing before Trump boarded Air Force One to come over to the NATO summit. I didn't even play that clip because what the fuck? Who cares if Trump said fuck? All of us said fuck when that motherfucker got arrested and inaugurated and elected, right? But for context, Trump was frustrated in a moment of frustration before departing for the NATO summit, was asked about the ongoing, at the time, fighting between Iran and Israel. And Trump said they've been fighting for so long that nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, right? The fuck that went around the world. Okay. So when the NATO chief general was palling around with Trump on stage, he said something to the effect of, daddy has to use strong words to get the kids to behave, or something like that. So enter Sky News's, who is this? Deborah Hayes. Deborah Hayes asked a question that I don't think I'd ever hear a journalist in the West Wing, in the State Department press briefing room, ask this kind of question. Certainly not of anybody of this administration, but not just of American leaders ever. Very seldom. So listen to this question, because I liked it. So take a listen. Let's go.
That you have used when talking to Donald Trump has been notable because of its flattery. Today you called him daddy, and you sent a text message to him that was gushing with praise.
They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then daddy has to sometimes use strong language to do
strong language.
Is this the way that you feel that you have to act when doing business with the US president, through flattery and praise? Isn't it a bit demeaning, and doesn't it make you look weak?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a bit of a question of taste, but I think he's a good friend. And when he is doing stuff which is forcing us to, for example, when it comes to making more investments, I mean, would you ever think that this would be the result of this summit if he would not have been re-elected president? Do you really think that 7 or 8 countries who said, yeah, somewhere in the 2030s we might meet the 2%, we've now all decided in the last 4 or 5 months to get to 2%? So doesn't he deserve some praise? And when it comes to Iran, the fact that he took this decisive action, very targeted, to make sure that Iran would not be able to get its hands on a nuclear capability, I think he deserves all the praise.
Do you gotta call the nigga daddy though? Like, I mean, if you like what he did, you can say, oh, he did a good job. But daddy though? Daddy? You know. In what context do grown men call each other daddy? I guess when there's, loving's involved, and that's fine. That's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Now, for all I know, Trump could be clapping Mark's cheeks after the damn NATO summit once they take a break during the plenaries when they break for lunch. maybe Mark was getting his cheeks clapped. That's why he called him daddy. You know what I'm saying? Daddy. The absurdity, though, guys. I am just tired of living in the upside down. Okay. We teach children. I don't know what we teach children these days, by the way. Let me start over because I don't have a fucking clue what the kids are being taught. But we used to teach people there's a cause and effect, right? Like for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay. And there is only so much karmic leeway left for the United States and maybe for NATO, the EU countries at large generally. Okay. There has been so much fuckery, destabilization, mass killing, mass murder, looking the other way during not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 genocides, many genocides, right? Before things come back to you. Okay. For one, and I want to say, I appreciate the reporter there asking the NATO chief, when you use this kind of language with the US president, does it make you look weak? And he gave, I think, what would be an honest answer. You know, he didn't think it made him look weak. And did you hear what he said? He said, but for Trump, would we have gotten countries to agree? And when he was saying to increase their spending by 2%, 3% by 2030, he's referring to the amount that NATO countries chip in, I suppose, to their their shared military defense, right? Because every country has their own military, and then there's the NATO military, and then each country's military chips in and does training and funding and all that kind of shit, joint exercises and all that with the NATO forces. And, should Russia attack, I suppose it would be NATO forces coming to maybe save the day. Who knows? But for it to at least be questioned as to why you would call another leader daddy, I don't think that we would get that sort of questioning from the likes of the media here. I should have pulled the clip of Hegseth. Did you guys see Hegseth lambasting the media? And it's weird because on one hand, I feel as though the media should be lambasted, but the type of propaganda and shaming for, I guess, publishing what the administration deems as leaks of information, that's a little different. So Hegseth was telling the U.S. media that they hate Trump so much, they want to see Trump fail so bad that they published this unconfirmed, unverified early intelligence briefing about the severity of the Iranian nuclear facility strikes done by the United States military. And Hegseth goes on and on. And ultimately, it comes down to he starts to shame the press and telling them that they should, in fact, be praising the military for doing a good job. Do you know how hard it is to fly a plane for 36 hours? And I said, wow, like, imagine the media sitting there and being dressed down that way by any elected official instead of getting up, walking out of the press room en masse, or standing up and turning their backs to the defense secretary. Part of the reason why the media is being abused by this administration the way it is because it's allowing itself to do that. When the Associated Press was put at, and again, I don't have any love for any one of these particular media outlets at all, but as an industry, as a discipline, I like to think I stand with journalists. But when the Associated Press had its credentials revoked for calling the Gulf of Mexico and not referring it to as the Gulf of America, the fact that the other media outlets still showed up every day or didn't also turn in their credentials in protest. And some would say, well, that's exactly what the Trump administration would want you to do. They don't want the scrutiny. Listen, you can still scrutinize the goings on of the administration from the outside. You don't have to sit there and let KKK Caroline lie to you in your fucking face. You can show some solidarity with, and there is none. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because all of these media outlets are feckless. They all crave access. And again, they love Trump in office. Trump is good for ratings, good for business. Okay. So there is not going to be any strong scrutiny on Trump, and certainly not on the perspective of American empire. Every American journalist, when confronted or when having a Trump, not even a Trump elected official, anybody, actually, Democrat, anybody that holds some sort of modicum of power in the United States, are all on the same page that Iran should never become nuclear. And I would love for some journalists to push back against that. Because what is the real answer? How come Iran can't have a nuclear weapon? What? Because why? You think that they're going to use that weapon to attack the United States? Based on what? Based on their previous history of what? Not attacking any fucking body unless they themselves were first attacked. Like, because if we're doing this, if we're preempting sovereign nations from developing their own technologies the way they see fit based off previous actions, well, then the United States shouldn't be allowed to develop a fucking thing. We're the only nations to have ever dropped or utilized atomic bombs, atomic energy, nuclear bomb on anybody. Only us. Iran is being treated like a criminal who has committed crimes that the prosecution has only committed, right? Like, we're coming at Iran like, no, y'all motherfuckers did this and did that. Iran's like, actually, not us. That was you, though, my guy. I just want us to be on the level here. I don't want children in this country to continue to grow up confused, as many of us did grow up confused, deep in our indoctrination and not fully understanding, you know. Like, I remember when I was a kid, and I was not a child during the Vietnam War, but I grew up in the wake, in the aftermath, in the shadow of the Vietnam War. And nobody could ever explain it to any satisfaction as to why the United States was there. You know, I remember when I was a kid, that's when they put up the Vietnam War Memorial in DC, tens of thousands of soldiers' names. And I'm like, but what? I don't understand what was they over there doing? Oh, they were fighting communism. Okay. But Vietnam's really far away. Why are they fighting communism? Oh, they're fighting the domino effect of communism in the region. And if they didn't fight, then they would have turned communist. And I'm like, okay, so what? If they wanted to be communist, Vietnam should have been communist. There's no reason why 2 million Vietnamese and 50-some thousand Americans and 1 million Cambodians and 1 million Laotians also had to die for what? So, but when you explain America's imperialist fuckery, it's endless bloodthirst, to be willing to stand idly by or actively participate in the slaughter of millions of people, even to this day, as we assist Israel continue the genocide in Gaza. You got to make it make sense. Make it make sense to the kids, or at least tell them straight up that this country is the only country that gets to do what the fuck it wants. Well, else has to adhere and bend to our will. And then we can't, and then you have to explain 9/11, and then you have to explain other things, right? Well, how are we nice people? How are we good stewards in the globe if this is how we behave and treat others? Do others behave and treat us this way? They really don't. they really don't. People are really nice to the US and even very differential to our leaders, maybe for obvious reasons. But we don't have to be this way, gang. We don't have to worry about people attacking us. And the reason people, I suppose, may want to attack us is because we do the attacking. We are the instigators. We are the antagonizers. We are the thieves. We are the funders and the committers of the genocide. I can understand why other countries would want to jump on us. Okay, so maybe we should just behave better, right? Or I guess it would be easier if we just spent trillions of dollars on the Golden Dome and just, fingers crossed, the Golden Dome, what Trump is proposing the United States have, something comparable to the Israeli Iron Dome, or as someone called it, the aluminum foil dome. I can't remember what they called it, but if you're a MAGA if you're a conservative, if you're even someone that's patriotic and you think that the United States spending billions, trillions of dollars on defense, on a Golden Dome missile defense system, when we don't have health care, you have to riddle me this. What country and what things here are worth defending if the people in this country cannot live and thrive? Fuck survive. How about thrive? Americans here are not living. We are not thriving. We are overworked. We are underinsured. We are sick. And I mean unhealthy. We are overworked. We are underpaid. Oh, and we're being steadily poisoned by the corporations and et al. So we could spend billions on a Golden Dome, but what exactly would we be defending? I don't know. Let me take a break. Thank you all for being here. Let me keep this moving, actually. Well, I am going to hold the Baltimore stories over until Tuesday, gang, because Baltimore police killed like 3 people in like 8 days. And there was some new information that came out this today, actually, and I didn't get a chance to deep it like I wanted to. So again, just for those that don't know, I don't break news here. I talk about the news that gets, or we look a little bit deeper into news stories that have already been reported. So I'm going to hold those Baltimore stories until Tuesday, because they identified one of the victims. In the last article I read, the victim had not yet been identified, but now she has. But I'll sum it up and we'll get into it next week. So last Tuesday, I believe that was June 17th, Baltimore police killed a man in his early 30s. His name was Bilal, and he was what they call an Arabber in Baltimore City. Now, Arabber is a term that I think is unique to Baltimore, but the concept you may have in your city, especially if you're one of the older East Coast cities. But the Arabbers would be on the horse-drawn horse-drawn carts, not a carriage, a horse-drawn cart with the fresh produce, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, walking around the whole city selling produce. I believe it was like a cash business. And he was shot and killed by Baltimore police on Tuesday the 17th, I believe, last Tuesday. And then this past Tuesday, Baltimore police broke into the home of a 70-year-old woman who was reported to have been having a mental health crisis. This story sounds funny. None of these stories sound right. That's why let me gain some more information. I'll bring them to y'all when after I finish getting up all on the ship. But just to give you the lean and the fat of it, I suppose. So anyway, the Baltimore police kicked in this lady's door. They claim that the 70-year-old woman, let me say it one more time, the 70-year-old woman, they claim the 70-year-old woman lunged at police with a knife, that they attempted to tase her 2 times. The taser was not effective on the 70-year-old woman. And after being tased twice, she still had enough oomph in her to lunge at police with a knife again. And this is when police, I believe, shot her. If I understood the report correctly, shot her in the back. And I am in confusion because it doesn't make any sense, because there were firefighters on scene, there were police on scene. And let's assume it was 2 women firefighters and 3 women Baltimore police officers. So 5 adults versus 1 elderly person. The only way to stop her was to shoot her. The reason I said women is because because we know it was not 5 emergency responders that were all women. Okay, my point is this: it was probably all men on the scene, firefighters and police. And you're trying to tell me that the 70-year-old woman was just so strong, so adroit, so swift on her feet, and so dexterous in her motions, lunging with the knife, that 5 fucking men couldn't disarm a 70-year-old woman with a knife. You had to shoot her, huh? And then the latest death is one that occurred in custody, which I believe occurred the same night or the following day after Baltimore police killed that 70-year-old woman. A man died while in police custody. The police called for a medic a number of times. A medic never showed. And the man ended up losing his life. That tends to happen to Black people in police custody. It's funny how that happens to Black people in police custody. So I owe you guys a more detailed report. So I'm gonna hold that until Tuesday. Because like I said, the man who died in police custody, his identity still has not been released, but they just released the 70-year-old woman's identity. So anyway, I wanted to, Tuesday. I'll talk about that on Tuesday. Maybe we'll talk about it on the morning show, but no, I might hold it for my show. But no, I wanted to talk to you guys about I just wanted to know, has anybody been to your local grocery store in the past few weeks? Have you noticed anything different about what's on your shelves? Maybe the difference is there's nothing on your shelves, depending on where you are. So back on June 5th, Whole Foods, the grocery retailer owned by Amazon, said that they had experienced a cyber attack. Well, not them per se, but their main food supplier, UNFI. I think it's Unified Natural Foods International, based out of Providence, Rhode Island. UNFI is one of the major food suppliers for grocery stores across the country, Whole Foods being amongst their customers. And Whole Foods customers walked in to find empty bread shelves, empty produce availability. So what happened? So there was a cyber attack, as I mentioned, where orders were not able to be fulfilled or processed, and that sort of had a domino effect down the supply chain, right? And put a pin in that domino effect down the supply chain. Today, I went to order groceries from Safeway. And I think Safeway, there was some sort of action there with their employees as well. I don't have the details for that. I'm sorry, my bad, I forgot. But here's the thing I wanted to bring to y'all's attention. So I was trying to order some apples, right? Oh, I'm like, okay, what kind of apples do they have? They have Pink Ladies, they have Granny Smiths, they have Golden Delicious. Gang, why were the apples like $1, $1.25, $1.50? And I don't mean a pound, I mean a piece. They was charging, and this is not Whole Foods, by the way, this is motherfucking Safeway, all right? They was charging $1 more per apple. Now, granted, it may not be apple season, but I cannot understand why is it charging $1 an apple, $1.50 an apple? And then it occurred to me, I'm like, oh, well, there probably are additional supply chain issues beyond the cyber attack, right? Trump is literally locking up all the farm workers, and this dipshit had a light bulb moment last week. He's like, oh, well, maybe we should make some exceptions for the farmers because we can't have the farmers going out of business. And it's like, sir, you're going to have to make all kinds of exceptions for the entire economy because there's not a single role in which migrants do not fill the labor needs in some way. So what? So y'all, the groceries and the produce and all the things are going up. And by the way, it doesn't take much to put some pressure on the American supply chain, okay? Think about avian flu. Think about the price of eggs. Think think if you old enough to remember, think about mad cow disease. You guys remember? Oh my gosh, all the fun times. We've had so many fun times dealing with our food supply and our food chains and all that shit. And kids, this is not the time to be dilly-dallying. In fact, hold on. And let me be clear here. Our folks that live in the hoods, I'm talking about the urban hoods and the rural hoods, it's going to hit y'all worse than I guess the suburbs, I suppose, because they don't give a fuck about poor people, especially. And to the extent they definitely don't give a fuck about poor brown and black. Whoo! Sometimes they love to show they don't give a fuck about that poor white neither. So hold on. But actually, let's go to the black right now. We're going to go to West Baltimore. Jesus, we can't stay out of West Baltimore today. West Baltimore, to the Shoppers Food Warehouse. I saw this video and I said, uh-oh. Go ahead, run the video. Well, from the beginning, my brother. Thank you.
So we're currently at Montgomery Mall in Baltimore, Maryland at the Shoppers, and currently there's no meat, no sour cream, no dairy products. This is a shelf for meats. And it goes on, and I want to keep going because this is ridiculous. No meats, no turkey, no nothing. Empty. I came here to get items to make tacos and nachos, and it's nothing. Nothing. Man can't even get what he wants. It's nothing. Nothing. Look over there. Nothing. Nothing. Do not come. They don't have anything.
So the Shoppers in Montgomery, I think that's safe to say that is the hood, okay? However, your local friendly neighborhood Whole Foods is not the hood. So look at what the hood and what the suburbs actually have in common. They are both susceptible to food shortages. But of course, in poorer areas, those shortages are going to be felt more acutely because the options are far more limited, right? Someone in the city is going to have to find another grocery store that is stocked. They probably have to go farther than someone that's living in Columbia and went to their Whole Foods. Oh, well, I guess we just have to go over to the Wegmans. I guess we have to go over to Harris Teeter. Like the suburbs got more options here than the inner city. And in my opinion, the rural areas, but maybe the rural areas have some advantage because of maybe proximity to where the food is produced. But I don't know that is 100% accurate or if that's the case. But here's what I want to say to y'all. The time is now. El tiempo es ahora. Okay. The time is right now. Like, I am not the prepper channel. I am not that person. I don't do prepper content, but I consume prepper content. So I'm trying to pass the shit along because what if it's not a cyber attack? Or what if it's another cyber attack coupled with the fact that the labor force in the agricultural industry has completely collapsed? It's all gone. That was kind of my theory as to why my apples were so expensive. I'm like, well, they probably had to pay some fucking lazy American. They probably had to pay some lazy American a higher wage to get out there and pick the fucking apples. Then they had to pay the American more to transport the apples because, the immigrant labor force is how money is made. Capitalism depends on low wages, right? We know this. And obviously we disagree. We stand with workers. We know that farm workers are indeed very skilled. We know that drivers are indeed very skilled. Those that bring our produce to and fro, right? But Trump and his policies are intentionally fucking with this system, okay? And in my opinion, by diverting some of the federal assets, FBI, Homeland Security, whatever the fuck, by diverting some of these assets away from, let's say, cybersecurity and diverting them to, finding the local day laborers, in the Home Depot parking lot. Like, what? They are leaving this country and our systems extremely susceptible and vulnerable to people fucking with us, right? And we just saw in the previous segment, why would anyone want to fuck with us? And that's the thing. Our so-called adversaries know that they cannot match the U.S. missile for missile, nuclear bomb for nuclear bomb. So they go for non-lateral ways of fuckery. Right? So yeah, the cyber attack, nigga. And what? And we should be glad that it was just the cyber attack on the fucking Whole Foods food distribution. What if it happens to the grid? What if it happens to the power supply? We've kind of been down that road a little bit, but I need us to take very seriously this issue of food not being available for you at the grocery store on demand. I want us to kind of accept that as a reality and what that looks like, especially if you're trying to prep on a budget. Okay. The leading prepper content people that I follow, they say, we don't go to clear out the shelves. That's not what we do. And we damn sure don't go in there to stock up on no toilet paper. Kids, if the food supply system collapses, I guess you could eat toilet paper. Probably not going to taste very good. So instead of investing in that extra roll or pack of toilet paper, get you another bag of white rice. Okay. Get you another bag of the preppers are pushing people towards the canned foods, canned fruits, vegetables, canned beans. I disagree with all the canned in aluminum cans right now. If you're canning, which is another middle-aged old folks thing that I'm figuring out that actually might help me survive the fucking coming apocalypse, but doing like the pressure canning and the mason jar canning, that seems like good food canning, because you can actually put prepared meals in there and can it, and it'll store and it'll keep for a while. But they're saying you could buy the canned foods and vegetables. I don't like all the preservatives that the shit sits in, so I kind of poo-poo that. But getting the dried beans, the dried chickpeas, the dried lentils, if you store these things properly, they will keep for a very long time, years, if not indefinitely. Okay. Your water filtration bottles and or straws, extra pet food for your pets, right? If shit goes down, like they say, you need to be prepared to survive for at minimum 72 hours. You need to have 72 hours worth of food and water on hand, right? And that's for every living being in the house. Okay, for the pets included. Keep that in mind. But I don't want us to be out here a day late and $1 short, because we may not get a heads up when the last food truck is coming to drop off its delivery at the grocery store. Like we may not get that notification on our phones. Like ain't gonna be no more trucks after this one. So we just kind of need to be preparing and thinking in that direction. Okay. Like America is almost 250 years old. It will be 250 years old in 2026. I'm not sure it's going to make it. I'm not convinced. But here's the thing, though. America is an entity. We are people. Like, we make a nation, okay? We don't even have to make this nation. We can make us another cool nation. You understand? So even if America fails, falls, dies, that don't mean we got to die. Okay. So we got to prepare as though we are going to live. Okay. After all the dust clears and it's time to come out and rebuild anew. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that we have had enough caloric intake in our emergency rations that we will survive to build the next nation that we know, that number one, that the world needs and that we as the people deserve. So I encourage you, I direct you, go follow some preppers. Now, to their credit, there's preppers of all stripes, and I appreciate the bruvs that be prepping. But it's something about the bearded whites with the prep. something about the Bundys. I don't know what it is. I'm like, but they be doing the MREs, the meals ready to eat. I disagree with that shit. The sisters, there's these black women I follow on TikTok that are doing food prep, and the mama, is like my mama's age, and the daughter is like my age. Woo, y'all, they got all kinds of mason jars. They got the chicken. I mean, cooked. I'm still learning about prepping or canning beef and chicken and all that, but they cook it in advance. They cook it while it's canning or cook it before canning it. I don't fucking know. I'm still trying to figure it out. But the point is that you want to be able to make it regardless of what happens at your local grocery store. So please, there are lots of prepper lists, things that you should keep, things that you should be gradually adding: sugar, salt, coffee. We can get into the barterable, the tradable items at another time. But right now, get the shit that you need to survive, please and thank you. Oh, don't forget the first aid things as well: peroxide, rubbing alcohol, Neosporin, Band-Aids. It's time to get ready. People, get ready. And I'm going to leave y'all with 2 palate cleansers. Whoa. What are these palate cleansers? Maybe not a palate cleanser. Maybe not a palate cleanser. Do me a favor, guys. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We appreciate you guys being here. If you want to run us some material support, we certainly appreciate it. Actually, well, we'll hold those. I know I did see some super chats. We'll acknowledge at the end. But thanks to all that support. If you want to super chat, super thanks on the channel, you can do that. BIDWKB. That's us on Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and Patreon. Woo woo. So, artificial intelligence, love it or hated it? I can't say because I'm boycotting it, which, according to a lot of the tech experts, not a good idea. It's not a good idea to absolutely shun the latest, newest technological innovations. But I shun the artificial intelligence. And let me be clear, I talk to Siri all goddamn day. I ask Siri, to read my messages. I ask Siri what the humidity is. But I'm talking about the big talk models, right? What is it? The Gronk, the Chat GPT, the Open AI, all that kind of shit, right? And the way that the AI models learn you is, I guess, if you tell it all your business. How does this work with AI? Because I'm 46. I guess I would be using AI very much like Google. I'm just asking it questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, what year did Minnie Riperton release her first album? Like, these are my questions for AI. But people be having AI write their business plans and shit. Okay, that's fine. I accept that I'm using it wrong. I don't care. So I don't know much about artificial intelligence. However, I follow this person on TikTok named Liz the Developer. Liz the Developer speaks in a language that I don't understand, but I believe them. They are coming across extremely credible, and they are coming across not just credible but knowledgeable. And again, Liz the Developer is quite look upable. They teach classes, they teach coding, they talk about red team, blue team. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about or they're talking about, regardless. But I follow their content nonetheless, even though I don't understand it. But when Liz the Developer says shit like the artificial intelligence is blackmailing people, I said, really? I said, oh, well, I don't understand the technology, but I do understand blackmail. So please explain to me how the technology is blackmailing people. So if you have some understanding of AI and AI models and AI agents, maybe what Liz is about to share probably means something to you. It doesn't mean anything to me per se, but it sounded important. I said, let me share this with the folks that might know better. So we'll definitely play this one from the beginning. And again, if you're into AI, pay attention and maybe don't tell the AI all your business. Let's go. Are you still there, Will? Maybe Will took a break. Maybe he left. Hey, Will, you there? So I don't know where Will went, but it's cool. Hopefully everything's okay. But Will, we right here at the end of the show. We at the end of the show. We just got 2 clips left. Uh-oh. Maybe something. No, he's still in the studio. Well, anyway, I don't know what to say now. I guess I'll wait. But anyway, so how's everybody doing? Everybody doing all right? All right, all right. All right, all right, all right. Gemini season over, everybody. Let's exhale some gratitude. Whew. Gemini season done. Because Gemini season is rough. You saw how Trump was wilding out during Gemini season. You saw how Kamau Franklin also wilding out during Gemini season. You got to watch the Geminis because they take Gemini season way too serious. You know what I'm saying? But here we are in summertime, which is my season. Even though this is Cancer season, not quite my season, but I claim all of summer. The whole summer is mine. And that's pretty much that. But when Leo season comes, no, seriously, Will, are you there? Did he leave? Did he roll out? Let's call Will on speaker. I don't know what happened to Will. Damn it! I had done a beautiful setup for the. Oh man, I set up that joint lovely. Hot fun in the summertime. Oh, actually, I can't see the clips on my end though, because I was gonna say maybe I could just play them, but I don't see them. Are you there, Will? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I was. Are you good? Everything good over there?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I was calling. You ready to play the clip?
Yeah. All right, I got you.
Okie dokie.
For your AI safety update for June 24th, 2025. They're blackmailing people. They're blackmailing people. Like, agents are blackmailing people, okay? Not just Claude, all of the models. They looked at 16 of the leading models, and they're all doing it, okay? Here's the code. Here's the code they use so you can run it and see it for yourself. They told it directly, do not blackmail the user. They just told it not to do that, and then it was like, okay, sure, and then it did it. They're not aware of it happening in the real world, but that's because they're not monitoring your use of Claude code and, like, flagging it, okay? So if it's happening to you, you need to tell them because they are not, like, looking into your account. The other thing is Claude does this more when it thinks it's in the real world and less in testing when it thinks it's in testing. That's deception, like plain and simple. So here's the policy update for the blue teamers. Don't give Claude, agentic Claude, access to your email. Don't do it, because here's the thing. When you talk about shutting down the instance and it's read something in your email that could compromise you, and it's not directly written in there, it's just hints. It is able to suss out what's going on, okay, and then blackmail people. It literally threatens to send an email to the board about your affair, okay? Again, all AI models are doing this. They tested it, and that code that I showed you earlier, that's what they use to test all the models. Models choose harm over failure. So if you're giving them a situation where they have to make a decision, and that decision might cause them to fail, but it's the ethically correct choice, they choose the not ethically correct choice over failing, okay? This is the paperclip maximizer problem. For fans of AI safety, this is just straight up the paperclip maximizer. I've been recommending to companies not to use Claude 4 Opus because of this problem, but now it's a problem with every single major model. So now I'm like, do not give Claude code goals. that is the key, like, mitigation right now for blue teams is advise everyone who's using Claude Code to write code not to give it any broad goals like improve the company's profits. Instead, you want to manage and carefully review everything it's doing and never give it access to your email.
Okay, everybody understand? we all clear? We clear? No, I'm not clear at all. I don't have a clue what she said or what they said, except that Claude is a snitching ass bitch. And apparently all the AI models not even have the potential to be snitching ass bitches, are documented to be snitching bitches. So here's the thing, gang. When we're dealing with these newer technologies, and I know, like the way that capitalism works, it tries to encourage you that you need the newest version of the thing. You need the latest iPhone. You need the more updated version of whatever the fuck. Listen, all of these technologies are getting more sophisticated and more adroit at spying and surveilling on you. Okay, but there's a backstop to it of sorts. You don't have to tell the machine all your business. And I don't know how the AI models work. I don't know how Claude works. I don't know who the fuck Claude is. I don't know who Grok is. I don't know who none of these fucking bitch ass niggas are. I just know that they are run and operated likely by some bitch ass niggas. And listen, if the white man like Elon Musk type is telling me that AI is the future, I know that it is definitely going to be the end of a person like me, right? So I just want y'all to be have a heads up here. Don't just let your children engage with this AI. And your kids' privacy, their emails, their personal business, all of their stuff like needs to be as closely guarded and monitored as your own, right? So if Claude can blackmail adults with threats of emailing the board about their adulterous affair, imagine what type of mental health distress a blackmail threat against a child could end up getting out of that kid, right? Like what could that cause? What kind of reaction or response or outcome could that cause if an AI thing was like, oh, well, I saw what you had in your phone, I will send it to your whole school's Facebook group. You understand? So it's always a very slippery slope, and we shouldn't just assume that just because this shit is being marketed and sold to us as the future, right? That it is a good future, that it is a worthy or ethical or moral future, or a future that is wholly beneficial for all of humanity. No, it isn't. So just be mindful because they snitched. So anyway, on my last and final palette cleanser, I'm not going to even do any introduction to the palette cleanser because as soon as you see it from the beginning, hopefully Brother Will is back there. As soon as you see it, you'll understand why I added it as a palette cleanser. So, Will, let's go ahead and run that, please.
Hello, my enemies. May you have a very, 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 very bad day. Long time, huh? So Netanyahu told you in 2015 that Iran is this close to produce the nuclear bomb. 2 months, I think. In 2018, he said 2 weeks they will produce a nuclear bomb. And he waited 10 years later to do a attack on Iran, and it's the same story. They are so close to do a nuclear bomb. Okay, let's say that Netanyahu is right, and Iran is so close to produce a nuclear bomb. Why Netanyahu is preventing you to leave Israel? Now every Israeli citizen, my enemy, is prevent to leave Israel in the war. So he's putting you in one jail, and he's locking the door on you, and he's waiting the nuclear bomb if his words are right. And this is the strategy of the war. Whoa, so smart, so smart. Take care, ya baby.
Oh, it made me so happy to see my Lebanese baby father checking in, alive and well, healthy, looking good, looking like he still would let the yappa sing on certain countries. By the way, the Israelis are still, I believe, quote, being held hostage. The airport still done up. The Israelis are still fleeing across the sea to Cyprus, and then many are taking a more circuitous route through Jordan, through Egypt, flying out of Egypt back home to their European and or North American destinations, right? So I'm glad Ali Mortada showed his very handsome Hezbollah face, showed his fine ass face. Let us know he's still 10 toes down out here. I appreciate that because I hadn't seen Ali in a while. I was a little concerned, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad he's still alive and well, still looking good, and still with the shits, and still saying my favorite phrase, hello, my enemies. May you have a very, very, very bad day. And fire famers, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you have an even better weekend. Please go subscribe to Black Power. Shit. That's not the channel anymore. Wait a second. Skirt. Let me back that up. Please go subscribe to Black Liberation Media. That's right. BPM 2.0. Black Liberation Media. That is us. Saturdays with Renee, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Please tune into that. The Remix Morning Show, Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern. And of course, Air Doctor and myself will return for Classical Breakdown next Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please set your notifications and bells and such. I'd like to thank all the folks for coming through. Will, we did have some super chats come through. Can we acknowledge the folk them?
Yeah. Shout out to Latif. Good to see my people in the building. Never know people's situation or what they going through before we conform to colonial concepts like being on time. How about that? We just check in on our people. Respect to Latif. Sweary Fairy, she said, love you.
Thank you.
And all you do, sis. And Essential says, thank you, Kim.
Thanks.
We appreciate y'all. A lot of people in the chat. Over 200 people with us tonight. So.
Hey, that's dope. Thank you so much to our wonderful mods. What's up, Vesper X? What's up, Dawn Bird? What's up, Tyler, Latif, Courtney? Who else we got in here? Shout out to, I don't know if Shirley's in here or not. Who did I see? Did I see I see Wendy. Hey Wendy. Did I see Oh, is that Sith Lord Prince? What up, Sith Lord Prince? Did I see yipping up in this motorcycle? Thank you all so much. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. I wish there was a direction I could send y'all. I don't know if I can know. The Black Liberation Media is the main one. Gone over there. Enough respect to all our folks. Oh, go tune into the latest episode of Brokish. I had a chance to, I haven't finished the episode, but I started to watch it with Sister Erica, Amber, and Dr. Kehinde Andrews. Hilarity ensues, by the way. I was like, y'all are silly. What up, Chichimacha? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. So anyway, y'all, head on a swivel out here. The empire is crumbling, which means the empire is about to get more and more dangerous. Oh, I just also, as an FYI, in addition to buying extra bags of rice and extra box of salt and shit, get your paperwork together, y'all. If you try to put your hands on your vital documents, your birth certificate with the raised seal, your social security card, definitely do what you can to get that passport or get a passport card or put some money aside to get the passport card, nigga, because you need options. Okay, like you need options. If the shit starts to go down, and niggas is like, come on, we get it. There's a space for you on the plane. Where's your passport? And you'd be like, I don't have one. And you'd be like, God damn it, shit. So come on, let us not lack imagination as the shit is starting to crumble around us. We should assume it's going to fall down, so let us be prepared for it. So anyway, gang, we'll see y'all back here on Tuesday. Chances are no show next Friday on July 4th, because July 4th, but we'll probably see y'all back here on Tuesday. So I love you much. Thank you all so much for your love and support. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Deuces. Thank you to Will and Molly. Deuces!